Welcome back to the concluding part of the Mystical V border treatment. Okay, now we're over at the far left side of our border, and we're going to work our way right. And what we're going to do is put our lotus here in this lower V portion, and then I'm going to go up every other one, and I'm going to fill this in. So my traveling path is going to be fill in the second one, so that way I have some relief quilting. Then I'm going to slide over, do my lotus feather here, and then travel the ditch to the next one and repeat the process all the way across the border. And I'm just going to put a simple swirl up, down, just to fill it in. Swirl up, swirl out, swirl in, up, head down, slide over and do the next section, and then continue across the border. Now we have that portion of the filler done. Now we're going to move into the diamonds. And again, center. These two, I'm going to use straight line crosshatch, and then we'll move into some curved crosshatch. So very simply, I'm just going to take the V ruler, I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to go ahead and do 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do that from the bottom up on both sides. In other words, I don't want to measure my 1/2 inch on the way up this way and then come down the other way to measure the 1/2 inch down. If I'm going up this way on this side, then I make sure that when I go from right to left, I go up as well. Therefore, I end up with the same narrow at the top. Again, that keeps me from having to do math and so much planning. So I'm going to slide, get my first line, slide up again. I'm checking with my lines on my ruler to make sure they're straight. And I'm just pre-marking just because there are times when, well, that's what I would prefer doing rather than being extremely cautious with the ruler. It's there, I can relax and pre-mark all of these and then just go for it as I go through it. Slide up, 1/2 inch. And again, I'm double checking this line, making sure that it's nice and straight. And if we hold our tongue right, when we get up there, it should line up lovely. Okay, so now we would continue on. I'm going to go ahead and pre-mark this one, and then I'll go ahead and quilt that. now here we're working our way out from the center. Of course, we have our crosshatch, straight crosshatch, following the angle of the V ruler. And now for this one, as we head our way out, I'm actually going to do curved crosshatch. And you can just refer to the tutorial on doing the curved crosshatch to see the instructions for that. Okay, so now we've gotten this far on the regular part of our border. Now we're going to focus on the corner of our border. Now, very simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in a cornerstone. That's always the quick go-to. That way you know it's always going to work out. And then that way, wherever it works from the center to the end, it's going to be what it is. And actually, even though the top on both sides is going to match up perfect in the corners, the sides are going to be a little bit different because you can't depend upon a quilt. You're not always going to do this in a square. Sometimes, obviously, you're going to be doing it in a rectangle quilt shape. So it's going to be a little bit different where it ends up against that cornerstone. And for this tutorial, I'm just going to drop in a simple cornerstone. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I have my diagonal line, and then I'm very simply going to mark my cornerstone, line that up, go over, and that's just going to be a guide for me to work towards. And then the vertical. And so then very simply what I'm going to do is use my rulers and complete this exactly the same as I've been working. And where it ends here when I get to the cornerstone is where it ends there. It is what it is. And obviously your viewer does not know what your intention was, so it's going to look perfect no matter where it ends. So let's quilt that, and then we'll work on the cornerstone proper. Now that we've completed the horizontal border on the way across the top, what I want to do is take a few minutes and to show you some options for cornerstones. Now I'm going to take this square, which is our cornerstone, and I am actually going to create a design inside the 1/2 inch echo. I went ahead and put a 1/2 inch echo in here. I also made sure to thicken the lines just a little bit as I did it, just to pop the design in this border. Now what I'm going to do is use my straight ruler, and this is the Mystical Designer, the small one that we use for marking on the machine. I'm going to slide that from corner to corner. Any straight ruler will work. And then go from the other corner. And that's going to give me my guide marks. Now I'm going to grab my V ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the 4-inch mark on my ruler. Now on these marks I'm going to go from the corner in, so I'm going to slide this line that's labeled the center line, because that's what it is, right up on there. And I'm going to take that right up into this tape, just so it touches it. And make sure that this line is straight. I'm going to put my left line. I'm going to slide the ruler over. I'm going to use the center line that's marked here on the ruler. And then I'm going to line that up. Make sure that my tape hits the 4-inch mark. And again, you can choose any height. You have to figure out what works best for you. Now I'm going to do that in all 4 corners. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take those V's and we're going to mimic the lotus feather in each one of these, and that will tie into that border very nicely. We have our cornerstone marked. Now we're going to go ahead and quilt that out. And now we would just treat it just like we would regular ditch work. I'm going to thicken these lines just a little bit so they pop and make my border pop. And I'm just going to go back and forth, stay on the line as close as I can. And then when we finish all 4 of these corners, then we're going to go in and we're going to add our lotus feather. Feather up into the miter. Remember your last one to do that double bump feather, bring it around, feather down the side, travel your ditch to the bottom of your teardrop, do your other side, up, back, up, little double bump right up into the corner, come around, and repeat this on all 4 of your cornerstones. Go up into the miter, come back by the teardrop, double bump, go in. Last one, really stretch it out right into that corner, come back down, fill in your feathers. Come back, repeat on the other side, frond, double bump, reach, come around, frond, come down, lock your threads. Let's look at our wonderful border. Well, there we have it. We have the conclusion of the tutorial for the Mystical V border treatment. Now, as you work down the sides of the border, remember, you're going to baste, and what I typically like to do is to turn my machine to 6 stitches per inch, or just turn it on a very slow manual speed and just do a gentle curve all the way down the border as I complete the body portion of the quilt. And then I can work from the middle out to the edge, and you don't have to turn your quilt. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a wonderful day and take care of each other. And we'll see you back here at the Quilter's Apothecary.